right, there we go. So I got 11 o'clock. I'm sure there'll be a few more people joining us here in just a little bit. You guys, you need to get on Marine time. See, Marines show up 15 minutes early, so we can like shoot the bull before the meeting actually starts, right? So 15 minutes early, you're on time. Get it straight. It's a discipline. Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to the 17th Club Men's Only Mastermind. And as always, like to start out with our purpose statement. The 17 Club purpose statement is to build disciplined men of purpose who take responsibility, act with intention, and serve others. This is where we study the science of personal achievement and support, encourage, and hold each other accountable on their journey toward their personal and professional definite chief aim or goal, whatever you want to call it. So happy to be here with you guys today. Got a few more folks jumping in. Leroy's coming in. And looking for Phil Conway. I don't know why he's not here yet. He's supposed to be leading our group discussion today. Where are you? Where are you? Well, let's start with wins. We always like to start with wins. I know that Phil Conway may be a little bit delayed today because I think he got like 2 feet of snow over the last couple of days. So he's probably busy trying to find his computer in a snowbank or something. Any wins? Any wins this week? Anyone want to share? Go ahead, Brad.
It's not like a specific win, but an observation of kind of the power of the mastermind. And I've been kind of interested in this property for, the last month or so, and I made little steps in inquiring about it and taking steps. And I brought my wife on board and was able to kind of give her, a tour of the place. And we came together and both had a shared ambition for the same thing, and within 24 hours there was more progress done than the last 4 months that I've been looking into it. So I saw it as similar to what we're kind of working on as a group. When you're willing to share it with someone else and they come on board with you, you just take action in such a different fashion. So that's
Yeah.
what I got.
Yeah. It's amazing when you can come together on one page, collaborate with each other, get on the same page, moving in the same direction. I mean, it's just awesome. And if you're interested, I just finished listening to a book called The Mastermind, and it's written by I can't remember her last name, but her name is Judith, and she actually has worked with the Napoleon Hill Foundation for like 15 years, doing a lot of research and just building new material. And it was a great listen to the point. So typically, when I get exposed to a new book, I'll listen to it on Audible. And if I like it, I'll buy it. And if I can buy it hardback, I will. If I can't, well, then I have to suffer through a paperback. But, it was a great listen. So I'm sure it's going to be a great read. The name of the book is simply The Mastermind. I think you guys will find that very interesting. And I see Luis, you have your hand up. Go ahead, buddy.
Yes, just gonna piggyback on what Brad said. It's every mastermind has to have a purpose, has to have a goal, a clear, definite goal. So if you're part of something, we are part of something, and this doesn't have a definite, clear purpose, we're just wasting time and energy.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
just
Thanks,
want to.
Luis. Appreciate that. Rob.
Yeah, I just wanted to share, I started this business. Me and my partner started this business a few months ago, and we started out really fast, learned some hard lessons about vetting and verifying and confirming who you're dealing with. Came back around after the new year, and now we're better for it. But one of the things that I've changed with my approach to this business is not only to keep on going and not to quit and work hard, but how I pray about it. And the path that God has always put me on is always for a reason. There's always a plan. So the way I've changed my prayer, and it just kind of feels better, is when I begin my prayer, I say, I have faith and believe that God is going to do this for me. I have faith and believe that God is going to have my little girl who's sick right now not be sick. I have faith and believe. I don't ask. I don't wish. I just have faith and believe. And it just, for a man, and speaking like that as a man and coming at God, as a man with that type of prayer, just kind of makes it a little bit different for me. But I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you for sharing that, Rob. And it's okay for, as a man, for us to pray like that, right? It's okay for us to have faith. Faith is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And it's not just faith in yourself, it's faith in the world around you. I have faith that there are good men who will join us in this organization to help us grow the impact that we can have on other men. And some men just struggle to be able to say those words, right? And there's no reason to. That's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of belief. And belief in your fellow man is really, really important, right? So I see that Phil Conway has joined the room. He must have found his computer that was buried in a snowbank somewhere there in Boston. I don't know. Phil, welcome to the room today. And you are the man leading the group for this session. So I will let you go and take over for controlled attention?
You say something that we focused on the same thing?
I think so.
Okay.
Go for it,
That
Phil.
was my audio check, just to make sure
The
everybody could
floor
hear
is
me.
yours, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. So, of course, wouldn't you know, in the blizzard, the plow guy shows up just at 10:59. Of
Of
course,
course,
right?
of course.
Anyhow, we're here together and we're going to be focused. While that's going on outside, I'm going to be focused here. And we're just going to have a great conversation, really, what it comes down to. And
Hey,
so
Phil,
I'd
can I
like to
jump?
invite every.
Phil, can I jump in just for a minute? Because we have a new
Yes,
member
yes.
that just popped in. I just noticed Jared.
Oh,
Is it Wagan, Jared? I can't hear you, brother.
I see him now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. How do you pronounce your last name?
Wiegand, sorry. I was muted.
Wigan. Wigan.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jared. Jared, welcome to the group. If you wouldn't mind, just tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and why you're here.
Yeah, my name is Jared Wiegand. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I was referred by Brad. We grew up together. I was best friends with his little brother for a long time. And he had reached out and asked if it was something that I'd be interested in. So I just popped on here to see what it was all about and see if it was something that aligned with kind of what I'm, my perception of life and stuff like that. So,
Awesome, outstanding. You're only a couple of hours away from me. I live in the Villages, Florida.
oh, okay,
Yeah, so we're not too far away. Maybe sometime we'll connect somewhere in the middle and grab a coffee or a lunch or something. All right. So
sure.
welcome to the group. Feel free to interact. I want to remind everybody when Phil's going through our session today, feel free to raise a hand. If you got a question, a comment, some insight that you'd like to share, please do. And Phil, I throw it back to you. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, thank you, Frank, and welcome, Jared. Good to be with you and to share dynamic conversation, dynamic coffee together too. So I want to be sure that we're all focused. You can't hear the background behind me, all the noise, right? That's why I got the earbuds on, hopefully to minimize that type of thing. Good. Um, yeah. So the question I like to start out with: have you ever taken your eye off the ball? I don't know if anybody's ever played baseball or maybe football or any kind of sport. Maybe like Leroy and Alex, you're driving your truck. You ever take your eye off the road? And all of a sudden, what you thought was way in the distance, boom, it's right in front of you. Well, we're going to talk today about controlled attention and concentration. As someone who I'm probably an undiagnosed ADHD, so there's some information tools and resources studying deeper into this material. It helped me to, okay, that is off to the side, but I can still have the power to focus. And that's what I really love talking about these principles. And so in the book, everybody has a copy of. If you don't, that's okay. We can go back to it after this meeting and look at that action guide because that's very powerful. The controlled attention and concentration. Perhaps the most important function of self-discipline, as we talked about last week, is that we can stay focused on the entire goal so we can reach that. And here is the eighth principle in the science of personal achievement is controlled focus. See, all of these are building upon each other. And as we build on those, it becomes more who we are. So we have a foundation. Why are we here? Our purpose. And then we have that faith. We were just talking a little bit earlier about having the, whoops, what happened? Oh, did something happen to me? All right, there we go. See, we're going to stay focused. That's not going to be a distraction. We're going to just keep on going. We're going to be using persistence here. And so one of the things that my mentor was Bob Proctor, and he used to talk about Napoleon Bonaparte. That's the other Napoleon. And Bob had a little statue of Napoleon in his office, and he would say Napoleon would never see the obstacle in front of him. He would focus his mind on the destination. And with the power of focus, and then we build that upon discipline. We build that upon our goals, our faith and belief. We start moving forward, and whatever it is that is our desire, we're moving a step towards that. Yet we have to look from inside instead of the chaos on the outside. That chaos on the outside will distract us every single time. So going on, as Napoleon Hill talks about, and one of the greatest ways for us to focus is bringing in the mastermind together. And this mastermind, whether it's a personal mastermind, Rob and your partner, Brad and your spouse, whoever is that inner world with us, that spouse, that family relationships, or a business partner, those that are part of in this mastermind right here. We're all here together to support and grow, because different people will have specialized skills and knowledge, your life experience that you bring it, nobody else does. So intention is something that we do, and that's what this whole chapter really is about: focused mind control. Napoleon Hill said, "No, the first to make a shift, what we have to do is we have to have information that powerful thought, energy, it flows to us and through us, and it has to be organized." Napoleon Hill organized it. We have the 17 principles here, and then intelligently directed. Well, what does intelligently directed mean? That means we have to have a focus, a guide and mentor that will keep us focused on that goal, that destination where we're going. And so this way, the calling that is yours will be moving forward to that. And because it's really important for us to stay focused and not allow the chaos outside of us, self-discipline, that's where that comes in, because we're building upon all of these organizational principles together. As I mentioned, the definiteness of purpose, your desire, faith, and the full force of willpower. Willpower, it's more than just an attitude, where I really love to talk about the idea of this organized mind power and willpower. Where I studied with Bob Proctor, I studied that there are 6 intellectual faculties. And just to show you like an image that helps me to keep focused, and I'm happy to share any of this information with anybody afterwards to do a deeper dive too, and refer you to lessons that can help us understand. This is like the power, this image of the mind. And if we look at the mind, we have our conscious mind here, and then we have the subconscious mind. How do we angle it that way? Subconscious mind. And what's looking outside or inside? Which one do we allow ourselves to be more powerful? In the conscious mind, we're having these thoughts, and they're going to be negative or positive, and we plant those seeds in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind will never know what's true or accurate. It just takes everything given to it, and then the body will go into action. It's like, just to show you a diagram here, and then we can open up this for more discussion on where is it that you might have taken your eye off the ball, and how do we help you to get more focus? And we're looking at the mind, and we understand there's 5 senses. We have see, hear, touch, taste, and smell. Most people, if you have sight, they're going to look at their results They're going to look at the economy. A business is going to look at its sales sheet. And when the camera's this way, if we're looking at results on a sales sheet, our report card, people are allowing that to block them. They're taking their eye off the ball. Keeping our eye focused on the horizon where we're going is what's critical. And that's why self-discipline, we're mixing that with control focus. How do we get to the point of having a focus? And that's where we have, within here, we've got 6 intellectual faculties. We've got perception. We've got our will. We have imagination. We have reason, the way we think. We have an intuition. And we have memory. So those are 6 powerful forces, and they're all in the thinking or conscious mind. The emotion mind is the fertile soil where we use these 6 filters to plant our thoughts in the subconscious mind. And the one that we're talking about today is will. The power of will is our ability to focus. If you think for a moment, it's like if you ever had a magnifying glass and you put that in front of the sun and it takes that sunbeam and it really focuses it, the heat, the energy is all focused and it creates a fire. A laser beam is a high focus. Whatever it is that we can use to in our mind, the frequency of our thoughts, what we allow to come into our conscious mind, the seeds that we're going to plant. This is how we're going to keep the distractions and the noise and the chaos in the outer world away from us. We have to be honest and have integrity, look at the current results, yet we don't get emotionally involved with the current results. So I want to throw a question, we can probably start talking. Are there areas in your life right now that you find you're emotionally involved with your current results? And is that stopping you from having the relationships, the health, the finances, the spirituality, whatever your goal is? Are you allowing that to hold you back? Let's go around the horn and contribute into this conversation. And feel free to bring up other points of view where it gets to, like, how do you increase your focus? Rob, see your hand. Come on in.
I think that's great, Phil. When I think about focus, I've been on a whole new journey in my life, getting closer to God, praying in a different manner, carrying myself in a different manner. And one of the things that I've been looking at is, as a man, what was the Knights of Templar, the samurai, the Spartan, how they trained, why were they such great men? And it comes down to focus. Especially when you're talking about samurai and Knights of Templar. I mean, they were big time focus, focus on what you're doing, focus on yourself, and I think a lot of that even comes down to another word, Phil, which is conviction. How convicted, coming back to Napoleon Hill, how convicted are you to do your divine purpose, and what focus will come out of that conviction? So I will give you an example from me, my children. I told you guys the situation. I just place once a month, 1 week out of 2 weeks to 1 week out of every month. And I've been doing this for a few years now, and I've gotten good at it. And it's just muscle memory. And, me and mom are good co-parents. I pay her double what I'm supposed to be paying her so she can live in a nice place and, provide for my children. But that's focus, because they are my divine purpose and my conviction to be a good dad and make sure they have a good life. Even though the situation is what it is, I'm from afar right now so they can grow up and travel more. My conviction to them provides me the focus to keep moving and not let other things distract me. As a man, we get angry, we have emotions. You could listen to this and hear that, but I stay focused. I keep on the North Star, and I know what that North Star is. It's my children. So no, nothing knocks me off course in that way. So that's how I apply it, Bill.
Oh, that's so good. You're like the Napoleon Bonaparte. Like if I see the objective, the obstacle must dissolve. Yeah, I love that. Zachary, come on in.
Hey
Where'd you
guys.
go? I was looking at you. Oh, you went over here.
Yeah, I wanted to just point out one of my experiences. As far as going to the gym, I forgot who I heard talking about it, but they were mentioning having a clear goal is going to make it to where you're able to stick with it. Having that, as it would be stated as far as Napoleon Hill would be. But like I go to the gym for longevity. I'm not trying to necessarily get buff, but if you are trying to get, super muscular and gain a bunch of strength, that's your purpose. And that's going to make it to where it's easier to, to hold that focus. And so I know what my long-term goals are, and that's to have a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. So it's easy for me to commit to that because I know what it is. I can say it. There's a name to it. And so like, yeah, longevity, boom. That's why I show up every day, because I want to feel good and I want my life to be sustainable. So it's very easy to have my attention on that because I know what it is. So
Yeah, that's so powerful, Zachary, isn't it? You mentioned a couple of different things in there. Is that you have your I call it like Jack Canfield has a big head, the BHAG, big hairy ass goal. That real at the end of destination. My You want to be here, you want to be sustainable for longevity and health, that kind of thing. Yet at the same time, there's a focus on the steps. Like we don't see the whole staircase, but we're just taking that one step forward at a time, and it's developing a routine, discipline, using self-discipline to keep one step at a time. If you're driving down the road, the headlights only show you another 50 or 100 feet in front of you, but even at night, you can still make that 2,000-mile journey. So that's good for you to have that long-term goal, and then you're doing the short thing in this moment. It's not. That's where the focus is. The power of the will is bringing us so that we're not. I don't have an hourglass in front of me, but have you ever seen the hourglass? There's two bulbs. The bottom bulb is the past. It's an hour ago. It's yesterday. It's last year. It's gone. There's nothing that can be done about it. No matter how far you go back, no matter what's playing around in our mind. So many people are focused on that rearview mirror, and they're only looking at that bottom bulb, and they're allowing themselves to get emotionally involved with it, and that can lead to ultimately a lot of depression. People feeling sad, they're frustrated, they don't know what to do, and they're allowing chaos to rule them. The top bulb, on the other hand, that's an hour from now, it's tomorrow, it's next month, it's 5 years from now, it's 20 years from now. We don't know how much sand is in that top one. We bring our focus right to the middle, and that midpoint is this moment. So when we focus on this moment, that's where we have to be focused. We're talking about concentration and focus, looking at right now, this moment. What can I do in this moment? The secret to world peace isn't about what you can assemble an army. It's about how do I, as an individual person, manage myself and my emotions. What can I do to serve humanity in a way that's I feel good because I served them. They feel better because they encountered me. And it could be as much as a smile, a handshake, help someone across the road, shovel a driveway if you're in the Northeast. Things like this are very simple, but it's just mastering the moment and being focused in the moment. Yeah, we persist. So yeah, Frank, come on in. I see your hand up.
Yeah,
I see
Phil.
Michael. You.
Phil, great job, by the way. So I've got in front of me my mind body statue that actually
Much better than my pictures. I never want to not draw it on
I
you.
put it up there to help you, Phil. But just the top part, the mind controls the body. And
Yeah.
and when I look at this statue, so the antennae up on top, that's the environment that we live in. That's your five senses, and how the environment comes to us is through those five senses. And so when I think about controlled attention, Uh, it's in concentration. Does it, is what you're focusing on aligning with what it is that you want to do in your life? And, I heard recently that the most successful people in the world say no to most things. Because most things that come into their lives from their environment, from the surroundings around them, does not align with what their definite purpose is, does not align with what they want their life to look like. And so when I look at this, just the top part of the statue, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the environment and how it affects me, I have to ask myself, is what I'm doing right now, is what I'm experiencing right now aligned with what it is I'm trying to accomplish? Because there are so many distractions out there. So concentration, focus, staying on purpose. John Maxwell says being intentional, living your life with intention. And that to me means knowing where you're going. What's the destination? Are you staying focused on going to that destination? Or are you getting pulled from left to right, up and down, and just drifting all over the place? You still know what you want to do, but you're not focused on it. And focus is the challenge. Stay aligned with your goals. So just wanted to share that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. That's so powerful. And I think on being that focused too, like where leaders are talking about the idea of making a decision. Decision is a principle that Napoleon Hill talks about. It's deciding from the goal achieved, emotionally involved with the goal achieved, not emotionally involved with the current results. And this is where there's a big gap. We all have this gap. And Bob Proctor had this gap. Napoleon had the gap. Everybody who's success has the gap. It's just that they use these principles to keep themselves focused on what's this moment? What am I doing now? Because that's all that matters. Yeah, great point. Michael Bridgman, come on in, my friend. Wow, you got the sun shining bright. Look at this energy coming in.
Yeah, yeah, very bright. Good morning, y'all.
Love it.
Or evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Or if you're watching the replay, hello. Just want to say I'm licking my wounds, Phil. I will recover. I will come back. For those who do not realize, Phil and I are opposing hockey fans. So I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan. He is a Boston Bruins fan. If we ever see each other in person, there will be bloodshed. I'm just putting it out there. It will happen.
Well, not as much as the Yankees baseball or the Montreal Canadiens.
No, it's
We
not
share a
quite that
Canadian
vicious.
villain.
Yeah. The focus conversation is always fascinating to me because I think it takes different tactics to get in there for different people. And one of the things, and you were just doing this, Phil. You were saying Bob Proctor and like they ask themselves questions. Because here's the one thing we all know to be true. Questions focus the mind. No matter what, you can't help but answer a question, right? You want the answer. So if we are asking ourselves the right questions, it tends to really help zero in on the focus of what we're doing. And for me, like I have, as I said many times before, I have challenges with the word with the word purpose because I think it's slightly varies for me based on the season of my life. But there is a couple of questions that I do love, and one of them is today, why am I a man of value? And I answer the question every day, right? It's a tool that I use on a steady basis to ensure that my day starts with some level of focus and a serious amount of sunlight coming into my window here. But that's for me, that was one of the big keys, you guys, is going, okay, what is the question that's going to actually take my what is such an easily scattered thing, right? There's so many distractions in our lives. Everything's pulling at us, right? Us marketing guys like me, we have figured out a million and one ways to try and grab your eyeballs and your earballs, right? So there's constant attention being grabbed at you. And so if we can ask ourselves the right questions, for me, that's a really powerful and effective way of zeroing in the focus and just do it over and over again. It's not a once a day thing, it's a steady thing, right? As you're like Leroy is constantly making decisions as he's driving around his truck. He's constantly asking himself questions. Should I turn left here? Should I turn right here? Should I be going forward? Should I not be going forward? Should I change lanes? Should I not change lanes? It's a steady, relentless pursuit of answering the question. And I think for us, if we lose focus, it's often because we're not asking ourselves the right questions, or at least the right question over and over again enough. And so that was just something that I wanted to riff on for a second, is that the questions wind up narrowing in the scope and the lens of what it is that we're focusing our energy on. At least that's the way it
I
works for
love,
me.
yeah, I love that, Michael. Really, what is the question, right? What's that big question? And we're not getting today, but
To
it's
be or
perhaps
not to be, Phil, that is
that
the
is the
question.
question. There you go. Thank you, my content creator. The idea of bringing me back to focus, right? On this, um, the idea of how do I ask that big question? And the universal laws in science is polarity. That's where I was going to like the law of opposites is that if the question exists in my head, that means the answer also exists in my body and my subconscious mind. I might not have a level of awareness that I have awareness of the answer, but you can't ask a question like in Jeopardy without getting the answer, or you can't ask the answer, you can't give an answer without there being a question for it. Um, so being on the mission that we're on and asking a question that what really moves me beyond my comfort zone? What's out of the norm? What is out of what I see currently? And how do I envision and focus on that vision, imagination, what we play in the screen of our mind and stay focused there? And just to give you two quick examples that you can take, how do you increase your power to focus your will? I learned this once is if you take a candle, for example, light a candle, focus on the candle, and empty your mind of every thought. And at first, you'd probably be 2 seconds. We can build that up to 8 seconds. Stay with that until you can build it to 60 seconds. Then when you have 60 seconds, try it in 5 minutes. How long can you go? But be okay with it. It's okay to be 2 or 3 seconds when you begin. You don't have to be perfect. You're not going to go to the top of the mountain and ski down to the end like the downhill races. You're going to just take one step at a time, one turn at a time if you're on the mountain skiing. So look at that candle. Close your, don't close, but just keep your mind inactive. Allow that to be that way, and then you start to build your focus from there. And that's one way to help to build your focus on the will. So, Leroy, you have your hand up and you're patiently waiting, my friend.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, such a lot of stuff discussed here already. I really appreciate this group. So my mind went to, how like growing up, it was kind of, getting married. It was kind of expected, your wife is going to, just cooperate with you and whatever. But I learned, I like to go back to the illustration of Earl Nightingale says, like the man sitting in front of a stove and saying, "Give me heat, then I'll add the wood." You will only get back what you put out. If you don't put anything out, you won't get anything back. So I've learned, and that is one of the my focus. And Michael, you talked about asking the question, whenever you start feeling like you're going astray, ask yourself the question, what is my goal? What am I trying to accomplish here? And so that is one of my goals is, to keep that marriage that I have together in a harmonious way, not just keep it together for the sake of keeping it together, because where I come from, that's one of the things is it doesn't matter how much disharmony is there. The important thing, you got to keep the marriage together. And they don't even really focus on trying to create harmony, or okay, why is there no harmony? Or it's the marriage is the most important thing. And yes, the idea is important, but let's make it harmonious. And so those are the thoughts I wanted to share.
Yeah, great, Leroy. Always giving great insights there. The question isn't how. If we can, I would like to urge everybody here to not use the question how, use the question what. What? What's that next action step? What's that one step towards a goal? What can I do in this moment instead of how? Because we'll get bogged down by the external results or external environment. If we ask how, or it doesn't come to mind, and we abandon it. So I'd urge you, except the extreme erudite and elite people who might have mastered this material, but even when you master it, we're still infinitely far away from where we can be. So stopping the how and just ask what, that might be something to focus on there. Brad, you get your head up. Come on in.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to piggyback off of something you said and Michael said, which is, he said, how often? He said, every morning I wake up and I ask myself, and then here recently, kind of the biggest thing that stood out in this chapter for me was something that Nick shared, which I don't think Nick's here today, but if you rewatch this, thanks, Nick. And he mentioned Napoleon saying to dedicate 30 minutes a day thinking of the person you intend to become. And I think that so often we forget or we don't have enough focus to dedicate that time. And like you mentioned, the duration of time really doesn't matter so much as though that you're repetitively doing it, and it could start off with a minute, like you say, and I'm guilty of not doing it every day like I should. But as you start, with a small amount, it becomes a habit. And I just think there's a lot of value in that, just making a habit of picturing where you want to go, and like Michael said, every day, every morning. So that's what I got.
Yeah, that's really great too. And where it comes down to, I don't want to let it slip out too. You had mentioned time. I hear this quite often from people that I have a conversation with. Earl Nightingale had a great response when Bob Proctor was first talking with him, and he was working at Nightingale Conant years ago. And Bob says, "How do you manage your time?" And Earl Nightingale told Bob, "Oh, no one manages time. What we do is we manage our activities. So if I have for example, the top 5 activities that have to happen, or maybe you start with the top 3. Whatever it is that is going to inspire you that you can do these one things. And the first thing to do is the thing that scares you the most, because that also grows you the most. And because it grows you the most, it moves you closer to that goal, staying focused on that. So the idea is that how do we manage our activities? And I love this, the self-confidence formula. We do that in the morning. We do that in the evening, creating an evening routine besides the morning routine. And if we have to get up an hour out of usual, there we go. We're buying it. And if there's 3 8-hour blocks in a day, the 8 hours at our personal time, what are we doing within those 8 hours? So it doesn't have to take like forever in a day, but most often than not, there's more than 90% of the world is looking at TV. They're watching shows that just lower our intelligence. There's no focus there. They're just drifting. So we can manage our activities. I focus in the moment. And time itself has no bearing on us. So that's something to keep in mind as well. We go forward. Rob.
Yeah, I'm going to dovetail off what Michael said about asking yourself those questions. So when I drive here, I always drive back and forth from Colorado Springs to Oklahoma. Prior, it was Arizona. I listen to books. I'm filling my mind with just richness and goodness, and I have 9 hours to do it. So it's great. Sometimes I take a break, go to some relaxing instrumental music, but then I come back to listening. And one of the things I was listening to on the way here this trip was Awakening the Third Eye. And it goes pretty deep. But one of the things it did talk about was, for my children right now, I try to tell them there's several voices you need to listen to. God, you need to listen to common sense. You need to listen to your dad and mom. But you also need to listen to that voice that no one ever listens to till it's too late, that intuition. Your intuition. What is your intuition saying? So, for example, in a relationship, you have this person that you want to be in a relationship with. There's good, there's bad. Ask yourself, is this the right thing? What does that voice say? More than likely, that voice is going to come to pass. You're going to figure out down the road that, that intuition was correct. I knew that was going to happen. I saw that coming. All those little things that we say to ourselves after the fact. I think that's just a really important question to leverage our intuition and ask it those questions because it ignites the pineal gland. I won't go there, but I'm just.
You say PINIAL, is that right? Pineal gland?
Pineal gland.
Yes, PINIAL, just so we be sure about the pronunciation there.
Yeah.
That's so cool, isn't it? Well, intuition, that's one of the powerful six mind filters that we've got in our conscious mind. And intuition, as Napoleon Hill had talked about, the idea that how God talks to us, or infinite intelligence, or higher being, whatever word that we use. I use the word God, and that's where we go with our gut and trust our gut. And if I heard a distinction that how do I know what I'm forced in my subconscious mind through my programming or my gut, my intuition. Well, if we're trying to force it, it's probably not intuition. But if we allow it, relax and just be, that's intuition. It feels lighter. It's not forced. It's natural. And it may be counter to what we initially intended, yet our intuition is going to be a more powerful way to look at it rather than using our conscious mind and trying to force our way intellectually or academically through. So that great point there. Michael, come on in. And then other people who we haven't heard from, hop in too. I'd love to hear from you guys.
I'm protecting my office from a puppy, Phil. Treacherous
They're a lovely
creature in here.
puppy too.
Oh my gosh.
Did they even go to puppy bowl?
Yeah. So I want to pull something, I don't know, out of the shadow and into the light for a second and get some perspective on this, because I think that we tend to talk about and discuss this concept as in the positive energy space all the time. And I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, I have often needed the consequence to make my ass do what it needs to do. Right? Yin and yang energy is a powerful concept, and it's powerful because it illustrates the fact that the world needs both sides. In order for life to have meaning, there must be death. And in order for impact to happen, there has to be consequence. Or else, WTF, what is the point? And this is not a conversation that happens very often when women are in the room. So they're not in the room, so we're going to have it, which is that you need consequences, guys. Like, what is the consequence to move your ass? What is going to be the consequence? What's the downfall? If you don't get it done, what happens? Right? Lewis is a fighter. If he steps into the ring unprepared, there are serious consequences. Alex is the same. Frank was in the military. Rob, I believe you were in the military. If you are not prepared, gentlemen, there is serious consequences. If you don't achieve your objective, there are lives are lost. Consequences happen. And when we get into the mental side of this, it's all fun and games. But the fact of the matter is that if you don't put consequences in place, there are going to be dark nights. There are going to be late evenings. There'll be early mornings when your goal is within sight and you feel like you don't have the damn energy. And if you don't have the consequence, you might give up. And there's a really great website called stick.com, stickk.com. And here's the way it
Can you
works.
spell it again, please?
stickk.com. Yeah.
TKs.com.
And here's the way it works. You put in your goal, you put in your objective, you put in your credit card. And you say, I am giving this much money to this cause, this person, this outcome, if I do not meet my goal. Put in $5,000, put in $10,000, put in $20,000. What's going to make your butt pucker so hard that you're actually going to get the job done? I've used it multiple times in my life to make sure that when those nights were late and I was going to miss a deadline because, it's easy just to push this. I said, no. I'm not giving $5,000 to that woman. She walked out on me. That's never happening. And she gets a message that says, hey, by the way, your ex, he failed. Here's $5,000. How's that going to feel?
That's powerful, really. It's like that's the ultimate in accountability, isn't it? We
Yeah.
talk about accountability is the assurance of us staying with the discipline. And then, yeah, it can be a positive, but it also can be negative because whatever those thoughts are, whatever our attitude is negative or positive, are we steering right or steering left?
I think,
Dan, yeah,
Phil, I don't know whether it has to be negative or positive. To me, it's just incentive. Don't touch the stove. It's freaking
yeah,
hot, right? Like the fact is that we play with this idea of
yeah.
it's noble to pursue these things and vas-y faire, right? Find your noble duty. And that's all well and good. But when it comes down to it, you guys have been in battle before. Lewis has been in the ring before. You fight to win. If you lose, there's consequences. It's an energy that men relate to far better than most women. And this is a men's mastermind group. We're allowed to have this conversation. That's why it's a men's mastermind group. We're allowed to talk about this from an intellectual place and put it in the damn gut and say, look, you get into the ring, you fight to win. I've been in street fights before. This is not a play thing. You hit the person, whatever you got, as hard and fast enough as possible because you want it to be over. The longer it lasts, the more consequences there are. And the fact of the matter is that if we don't put consequences in our lives to accomplish some of the big things we want to get done, they will stay unfulfilled. And as the great Les Brown said, his scariest thing of all time is to wake up from his deathbed and he's about to go to heaven and he is surrounded by all of the dreams and outcomes that he never fulfilled. And they're standing there looking at him going, you were supposed to do this. This was you. This was you. This was you. That haunts him. And he has consequences in his life if he doesn't achieve what he wants to achieve. Even a man with as accomplished as Les Brown. He says, no. There's a punishment if I don't get there. Because sometimes the carrot works, Phil, but often to achieve our goals and actually zero in and focus the mind requires pain.
Yeah,
Transformation requires pain.
the opposite
I
side
just
of
think
that
it's true.
coin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a yin and yang.
I was watching, I was, when looking for, different insights to bring in. I watched the movie Patton, George
Yeah.
C. Scott, World War II. Frank would probably be more familiar than many of us here, right? It's like you talk about consequences and alternative plans, and if this and if this happens, if that happens, and there was going to be consequences, no matter in victory or in defeat, there was going to be consequences, and so I think that relates a little bit what you're talking about. It's like here was a discipline, here was the thing that had to happen,
Yeah.
and the ultimate goal is there, and they did achieve it. Although there's so many nuances that you could go into that we can't call them to here. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
I mean,
Consequences.
katanas, man, one of the most beautiful weapons ever. They are folded over and over again against the anvil thousands of times. That is pain, right? Pain upon the metal. Pain upon the metal transforms it into beauty. And ultimately, that's what we're doing, right? You are attempting to become the best version of you. It's not just simply a thought process or an exercise. It's an endeavor. It's a quest. Quests take challenges. they take greatness being demanded from you, and that is going to require sacrifice and investment, resources and time, and in a lot of cases, right, a dire consequence, or else the value of what you achieve gets dramatically reduced.
Powerful, powerful. We can go down a huge rabbit hole there. So thank you. Leroy, and then Luis, then Frank.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, for that. Uh, I've heard, there are natural consequences, and I've heard that, but putting it this way, actually making consequences would probably put more pain on you. And so, yeah, I love that. Um, but I did want to add a little bit more. I know when I start sharing some things, and I later on like, oh, I wanted to share that too. But like I said, a harmonious marriage, but what I really want to say is a relationship that is beneficial for both of us, not just for the sake of the marriage, not just for the sake of harmony, but and I've learned to use, I mean, my wife is my best mentor. I can say things and she will disagree, and then I used to, get angry when she disagreed. Now I use it as, oh, what did I say? How, oftentimes it's not so much what I said, but how I said it. And I can use that for my advantage, to refine my, what I'm putting out there. So I wanted to share that.
Great, great. Thank you, Leroy. Luis.
Very interesting what you said, Michael. And I like it, although because I operated like that for a while. But I want to bring a different perspective. How does it feel to win? What are you coming from there? I mean, painful pain, I mean, I take it, I use it. But once you tasted winning, it's not other freaking feeling like that. So what about if I come from feeling? I have to endure the pain. I know pain is part of the process, right? Katanas, they build and the oven, the place, the fireplace for the katana. They bring it up. They created it, and once they make one katana, after they heat it over thousands of times, they destroy the freaking thing. So it is the sacrifice that you have to do. But I'm telling you, once you win, once you taste it, I don't know. Then that was one of the reasons why I stopped competing. Because if I don't play to win, I don't play. Right? Now the thing is, this is a tricky part, right? Because then it comes what Michael said. I start choosing what am I gonna play and what I'm not gonna play. Well, what if everything comes to us as a game, the game of life? Owning your house, staying out of debt, setting for that retirement. How are you going to keep? Well, that's what usually people think, right? But what if you and I'm planning on working until the very last day of my life, not because I have to, but because I love what I do. And I want to be teaching, training, whatever doing until the very last day of my life, until the last stage of my life. Not because money, but because I love it, because I like it. And I love to win. And this is the cool part for me. Now, with all these world championships, now you know what my biggest enjoyment in life is? To prepare people to win. And when they win, I win. That's how I feel. So I'm taking it to a different level. So, and it's part of it though. I love pain. It used to be my biggest motivator. But then I got into a different philosophy of what if I win? Once you start winning, it is so different. And I have an amazing, amazing book Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Michael. What is the, and some people, I posted, I don't know if you guys remember this. I don't know if you follow me on social media, but like about a month ago, I had a huge discussion in my social media with people when I said that people cannot say that they won second place or they won third place. They freaking didn't win anything. There's only one winner, first place. You got second place. You got a third place medal. Not pun intended, Michael, on the hockey team. But it's true though. I personally can never say I won sixth place. So, and a lot of people were, no, but what do you say to all those people that run the marathon and they got a medal because they got seventh or 58th place? It all depends on their goal at the end. But winners, there's just one. Now, the different perspective is, did they got a better time? Did they crush it? Did they got better? Then they're winning, right? They're going towards their goal. But I like it. And I love how these conversations go from different perspectives because for some people, the pain is going to be exactly that, right? The biggest motivator. Fear can be another motivator. What if I lose everything? Well, I don't care, but I'm going to bust my butt so I can't not losing it, right? Like, I don't know, right now, one of my goals is to pay off my house in 10 years instead of 30. It's my goal, period. And the reward is going to be amazing, right? Because once I pay it off, and if I'm going to keep making that earning, I'm going to benefit a lot from it, right? That's all I got, guys.
Yeah.
That's so powerful, Luis. In the sports analogy too. Like, not all of us love sports. I happen to love sports, and no one goes into, well, we're just happy to be here. Like if it's the Olympics, oh, we're in Italy, and it's like, we're 4 hours apart from where three different events were happening. Um, and it becomes there's a pain that you can feel, and it's like I'm looking at the hockey teams, for example, and I feel the pain, and I was never against the other team. I just was for the team that I'm rooting. There's a distinction between being for something versus being totally against that team. And there's a sportsmanship that happens in the Olympic arena that I really appreciate. And I love how that can carry into life too. It's like, you can be in business and I what's the pain if I can't pay my employees, a 10% bonus? What's the pain if I have to release 15 people from my company? That there's a real pain there if you don't achieve your goal. Um, in your relationship, you lose the physical presence and comfort of your spouse, and that can be a painful area if we don't have a harmony in relationships. Whatever that goal is that we want to achieve in harmony or whatever, there is that pain, and it does surface. And fear can be the motive factor to inspire us to stay focused in the moment. That the consequences can serve as a way to, hey, I've got to do this. My accountability is there. So that's really powerful. We can go deeper, but anyway, we're hours short, and Frank have his hand up. Come on in, Frank.
Yeah, okay, Phil. I see Zach's hand is up as well, and we're coming up to the top of the hour. So, Zach, I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll make my comment and wrap things up and take it in for a landing. So, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on some of what I had heard. And um, from my experience, I need to do it for myself. If I do anything for something outside of me, even when I do achieve it, it often feels almost empty. Um, it needs to come from inside of me. That's not to say I can't draw inspiration from outside sources or anything like that, but um, it's my purpose, so it has to come from me. Um, and I really like what you had said, Luis, as far as about winning, because as far as I'm concerned, in my mind, what we feed grows. So if I'm moving from a space of fear or scarcity, even as a motivator, I'm giving my energy to this. If I'm focused on building, growing, and developing, especially from a space of being the best version of myself, I am winning. And as a matter of fact, once I'm embodying that, um, I can no longer lose. So, I feel like that's Michael. I mean, this whole conversation has been fantastic, and I appreciate everybody's time and energy. And there's been amazing insight all around, and I appreciate your time and energy, everyone. So that's all I got to say.
Great, grateful for you, Zachary. And I think as a kind of a sidebar to what you were just saying too, is like we have our goal. Yeah, we have to be aware not to compare ourselves to other people. I mean, for all near the intention of this particular event, right? There's a winner and there's a non-winner. That's it. There's no in between. You don't get participation trophies. But comparison can also be the thief of dreams too. So we want to be careful not to compare ourselves to somebody else. It's what is your personal best and how do you be 1% better every day, 0.5% better every day. At the end of the year, you're 365% better. That's 3.65 times as a growth factor of where you started the year. Anyway, Frank.
Yeah, guys, I just want to say, yeah, life is full of consequences, and our consequences are a result of our decisions, right? And as I was listening to the conversation today, and by the way, guys, what a fabulous conversation this was. Uh, why are we here? And I don't mean here in this group. Why are we here on the earth? What is your purpose? And so when I was listening to the conversation about consequences, uh, I guess the question I asked myself, who else does it affect if I don't do what I'm supposed to do? Right. And so those of us with families, obviously that's an obvious thing, right? If I don't do what I'm supposed to do, it's going to affect my family. But I believe that we've all been put on this earth for a reason. And I believe that that reason is bigger than us, bigger than our family. It's to serve our fellow man. So if we don't do what we're supposed to do, if we don't live up to our potential and fight through the obstacles to reach that goal or that potential that we have, who else are we impacting? Because we're failing for someone. We're failing to serve someone because we all have talents and skills. We're all different. And we all have the ability to impact the lives of others. So as we wrap things up for this session today, and again, I want to thank all of you for the interaction. Phil, thanks for doing a great job on this topic, and everybody for your input. But as we wrap this thing up, don't just walk away from your computer. Take 60 seconds, a minute, to just say, ask yourself, why am I on this earth? What is my purpose? And who is going to suffer the consequence if I don't live up to my purpose? Right? So that's all I got. Anyone have a final statement, final comment before we close the door?
Get the book Relentless.
Yeah, get the book Relentless. I got it written down, Luis. I hate coming to these meetings. I keep buying books.
It's
My,
it's
my,
but
my wife
I'm
sees
gonna sell it to you.
my wife
It
sees
is
my wife sees the book in the mail. She says, again?
same old here.
I'm
That
learning to
book,
say
right? That book is written by Tim Grover. He was Kobe Bryant's Michael Jordan personal coach. He was his personal coach. And that book changed my mind. It made me understood that there's nothing wrong with me for being obsessed with winning.
Yeah,
Love it. Love
absolutely.
it. All right. Thank you for that, Luis. Thank you for everyone for joining us. By the way, next week, bring a friend, invite a friend, please. If you need the link for them to register, just send me an email. I'll send you the link. I ask everybody to register because when they do so, I get their name and their email so we can put them on the invitation list. Let's grow this team here and let's go out and impact the lives of someone else. Okay? See you later, guys. Appreciate you.
Steve, you letting us all.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.